Here we go. Hot Tom. Can't find it. I look okay. Not great though. He's a bad man, my Gemma. Just as fine as me. Is it recording? Hey, what's up guys, YouTube? This is me, Will Higley, and I'm really hungry, dude. I'm really hungry. Got a nose ring recently, dyed my hair. Yeah, made a few changes. Wait, hold up. I'm Will, made some changes recently. Got a nose ring, dyed my hair. Got a little bigger. So I'm gonna pass it over to my homie Tom.
We are on the way right now to Kansas City. Why are we going to Kansas City?
We like to party.
Because we like to party. We are right now on our way to Kansas City because we like to party. And we're gonna hang out with Pat. We're gonna go skate. We're gonna go make some videos. And it's gonna be f***ing epic.
Got the boys back in town for a couple of days, and I'm gonna try and show them some new spots. I got a new apartment. We're gonna go to a lake. Gonna have some good times and eat that ass.
Very important, eat that ass. The most important. If you're gonna take anything from that, eat that ass. So I literally just walked into the corner restaurant and saw Pat, and he was like, "Hey, we're going to a lake today."
Yep. And it's Lake Tapawingo, north of here.
Tapawingo. That's what I love about Pat. You know, you hang out with Pat and you never ever know what the f is gonna happen. Pat, I think you're doing it wrong.
Patrick, dance, yeah, get it, boy, yeah.
A large part of this trip is Tom getting to skateboard at a ton of different parks in a ton of different cities, and we did a trip like this a little while back in Chicago, and now we're in Kansas City, so we just dropped Tom off at the first skate park, and Patrick and I and Amelia are, what are you guys doing? What? Are gonna go and get into some more fun shenanigans right now. Oh.
Just fine. I'm sorry, I couldn't keep straight face. I tried. I'm doing just fine. How are you? Oh, hold on. You got some.
Why are you over here wiping off my lens?
Oh no, it's still.
I swear there's not anything on it.
No, there's a smudge. We got the green light on the lake, so we're gonna head out there. Hopefully.
Woohoo! Happy about it.
You just have to pick up Tom.
Yeah, Tom's always
That's right.
I hope he's not like dying of heat stroke at the skate park.
Yeah, do you think he's dead?
I hope not, that would suck.
I hope he's not dead. I mean, you just met him.
I did just meet him and I already like him already. He's cool.
I'm on the will, so.
You're on Tom's will?
If he dies, I get like half the estate.
Is that how that works?
I think so.
Tom, I hope you're not dead. Oh, Tom, I hope you're not dead.
So much.
I really thought that was empty. All over the camera, bro. Are you serious?
It's gonna be so good though.
Are you serious?
I'm sorry. My nose is burning.
Sometimes I'm at the peak and other times I'm about to fall. Sometimes I gotta wonder what I'm doing here at all. Sometimes in my mind I just sit here and I'm guessing. How can I find the answers? I don't even got the questions. Sometimes I'm at the peak and other times I'm about to fall. Sometimes I gotta wonder what I'm doing here at all. Sometimes in my mind I just sit here and I'm guessing. How can I find the answers? I don't even got the questions. I feel like something's wrong. Been sitting way too long. Just sent a couple texts now. I wanna break my phone. It's killing me this time. Abort! I'ma see you out this act like it's all fine. Damn, why we always lie? Why we always play these games? Act like we don't care, but we know we feel the same. Told you last week, now I thought this game was over, but now
it is now the next day, and I am down here in downtown Kansas City. I didn't film all that much last night. I spent most of the time catching up with Pat, catching up with Amelia, talking with Tom, having a great night, and drinking a couple margaritas, and that was absolutely awesome. But since I didn't film a whole lot last night, I thought I would share the story of how I met Pat and how I came to Kansas City and started living here last year, because that story is absolutely crazy, and I don't think I've ever shared that on my YouTube channel. So it all started in May of last year when I got a dare from my boss performing in the circus, and he said, I dare you to go to a different city that you've never been before. His first choice was New York, his second choice was Chicago, and his third choice was Kansas City. And I chose Kansas City because it was a little bit closer than both those other two, and I just wanted to drive, and I had a couple days off. But he said, take those days off and go and walk up and down the busiest street you can find until you meet cool people and find a place to sleep at night. So that's exactly what I did. And I came to Kansas City not knowing anybody, found 47th Street, the plaza, and started walking up and down it all day long. As I was walking up and down that street, I made some mediocre acquaintances. I talked to a bunch of people about cameras, I talked to a bunch of people about skateboards, I talked to a bunch of people about a bunch of random pointless subjects and things. And by the end of the day, I started getting really super duper depressed. I got in my head, I started thinking about how this city is the same as every other city, and nobody's willing to give a second of their time to somebody from out of town that's on a challenge or a dare to go and meet new people. And nobody really accepted that. And so what do you do when you're depressed in a city alone, not knowing anybody? You go and get ice cream. So that is exactly what I did. And I went and got ice cream. And on my way out of this ice cream shop, I meet a guy carrying a skateboard, and I ask him what his best trick is, right? Just trying to start a simple conversation. So I think the exact quote was, shit man, maybe an ollie? And I was like, do it right here, $5 on it. And he tries to do it, he fails. And that was that. You know, I figured that's just another bad acquaintance and I'll walk away. I didn't really think much of it. And as I start to walk away, he points out that I have a camera bag on, and we start chatting about cameras, and we start chatting about how he's a photographer and he lives with a music producer and a graphic designer, and we all sit down and have a beer and have an amazing time, and I get to know these people. Well, that guy was Pat, and Pat introduced me to Brax, the graphic designer, Pat introduced me to Hondro, the music artist, and Pat himself being a photographer. And then 3 or 4 months later, I moved in with the four of them in an apartment in Kansas City. And honestly, that was one of the most mind-blowing experiences of my entire life. I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about traveling to a new city by myself, meeting people, making these new acquaintances and new friendships. And it was just overall an absolutely mind-blowing experience that sparked so much of my want to go and travel and meet new people and go and see all of these really cool cities. So, like I said, it's a new day here in Kansas City. I'm gonna get to it. And with that, I will leave you with keep living like a drunk little kid, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Sometimes I'm at the peak and other times I'm about to fall. Sometimes I gotta wonder what I'm doing here at all. Sometimes in my mind I just sit here and I'm guessing. How can I find the answers? I don't even got the questions. Sometimes I'm at the peak and other times I'm about to fall. Sometimes I gotta wonder what I'm doing here at all. Sometimes in my mind